Cavalier Family Special Edition ASMR. Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Cavalier Family ASMR. ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Basically, it's the tingles that you get in your head whenever you hear a whisper or a certain noise that could be caused by tapping or whispering or anything like that. Today we're doing something different, and that is going over some movies from the collection I have here at my house. Basically, there are movies that help shape either cinema, help shape directors, what they are known for, based on cinematography, artistry, and storyline. Some of them also are famous throughout the music that they have as well. I have this little microphone here on my finger, mostly because of the fact that my beard is so long. I don't want it to disrupt the sound of anything. So let's get started, shall we? First up, we have the movie 8 Mile. 8 Mile takes place in the city of Detroit. It stars one of my favorite rappers, Eminem, or Marshall Mathers. 8 Mile is actually a street in Detroit. And if you like the underdog in the storyline, this is the movie for you. It's about a man whose dream is to become a rapper and who works in the factories of the city of Detroit, who has a lot of drama that goes on. It also stars Mekhi Phifer, who can also be shown in the movie Dawn of the Dead, the remake, which is also another great movie. Basically, we're going to go through numbers, A's and B's, because there are so many movies that we have. We have over 200 movies, so to get through all of them would take a very long time. This is the second time I made this. Originally we had A through C, and that took 45 minutes. So I'm kind of hoping that this version will short it down. So we have, again, Eight Mile. I want to carefully open it. So sometimes it might be a little loud. There's nothing special. Next up, we have Scott Snyder's 300, the epic graphic novel by Frank Miller, who you may know who's also done Sin City and The Dark Knight Returns. This also stars Gerard Butler, and has fantastic cinematography. If you like action, there's lots of it. If you like shirtless men, you'll enjoy this movie. It's very violent, very bloody, but everything that is done to make this movie is phenomenal. It's basically about 300 Spartans. And Gerard Butler plays King Leonidas. You can see him right here. Cover of the DVD is a little different. So is the back. They Saving Private Ryan, where you have two British officers trying to go save one of the other officer's brother. The way that is filmed is phenomenal because it's basically shot like if it's all done in one take. It's 1917. A Sam Mendes film. There you go. Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch. Next up, we have multiple movies. That's a collection. It's Stanley Kubrick's collection. A lot of people don't like his sense of style of filming, but I absolutely love it. We have 2001: Space Odyssey. This movie has one of the best villains as far as AI goes. Then you have Clockwork Orange. This movie is based on a book. The book was written by a British fella. And also, I know the movie, from my understanding, was banned in England. It's very violent. It's very twisted as well. And some people like it, a lot of people don't. But it's still a classic. Then you have Stephen King movie, The Shining, starring Jack Nicholson. Basically don't have to describe The Shining because everybody knows about it, but it's an amazing movie. Though, admitted at first, Stephen King did not like this movie, did not like how Stanley Kubrick portrayed it. As you can see here in the back, we have the description of everything. Now, Clockwork Orange is stomping, stealing, tap dancing, violating derby-topped hooligan Alex, who's played by Malcolm McDowell, which is a famous actor. He has a good time at the tragic expense of others. His journey from a moral punk to brainwashed proper citizen and back again forms the arc of Stanley Kubrick's feature shock vision of Anthony Burgess's novel. Controversial when it first released, Clockwork Orange earned 4 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. Its power still shocks and holds us in its grasps. It's rated R. From my understanding, it's rated R for language and violence. And I believe there's an unpleasant scene that takes place with 4 men and a girl. So again, very controversial. Next up, we have Ridley Scott, Alien. Of course, in space, no one can hear you scream, right? It's a quadrilogy, though it's on DVD. I've yet to get the Blu-ray. I'm a huge fan of Alien. The first one stars Sigourney Weaver, and Sigourney Weaver is basically in all of them throughout the whole series, besides the Prometheus and Alien Covenant, because those are supposed to take place before the Alien film. Fun fact, the scene in Alien where the alien pops out of the guy's chest, nobody knew about it besides the actual actor and Ridley Scott. Sigourney Weaver and the other actors did not know. So when the alien popped through the guy's chest and the blood splatters, everybody's horrified face is actual real expression. It wasn't acted. It's Alien. Next up is All Eyes on Me. It's the story of Tupac Shakur, the first Tupac and rap song I ever heard in my life when I was a kid. Since then, I've always a fan of rap and hip hop. Dr. Dre, NWA, all of them. Next up, we have American Graffiti by George Lucas. George Lucas, I can't remember if this was first, but I believe THX 119, I think is the title. I know what THX is. Can't remember which film that was as far as independent. But George Lucas is also known for doing a lot of independent films that are basically paid by him, and though distribution are done by Fox and such. Also stars a young Harrison Ford before Star Wars, before Indiana Jones. This is how George Lucas and Harrison Ford met, and how Harrison Ford kind of got a one-up to play Han Solo. American Graffiti. Next up is a horror classic, American Werewolf in London. This movie is a classic horror movie that takes place in London, but it's about two American tourists. One that gets attacked by both get attacked by a werewolf, but one survives. The animatronics of this movie is fantastic for during that time. Also, there was supposed to be a sequel to this movie, where the main actor falls in love with, she actually is a werewolf. So at the end, when she says, "I can help you," is actually supposed to be a dialogue that sets up the second film, because you don't find out until the second film that she's actually a werewolf herself. Next up is Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. Francis Ford Coppola also helped George Lucas on American Graffiti. I believe this takes place during the Vietnam War. Also showcases Charlie Sheen as well. Martin Sheen. Larry Fishburne, who is also known as Lawrence Fishburne. Francis Coppola. Dennis Hopper. This is a classic movie, and also shown on top 100 movies to watch before you die. Next up is actually Atomic Blonde, starring Charlize Theron and James McAvoy. If you like James Bond movies, you'll love this movie. It's a rated R version of James Bond with a female lead, where Charlize Theron did a lot of her own stunts, to the point where a lot of these stunt guys got injured because she kept forgetting to pull her punches. She also got injured as well while playing on set and doing her acting. The cinematography of this is fantastic. Takes place during the 80s, prior to the Berlin Wall falling down. The usage of graffiti art is phenomenal too. Rumor is that there's supposed to be a second one. I hope so, because I really enjoyed this. So again, that's Atomic Blonde. Now, if you know me, I love Marvel movies. So this is just one of many that we owned. This is Avengers Endgame, coming in the early 2000s with Joss Whedon's Avengers movie. I feel is a staple because no other film has tried to do it, and he did a phenomenal job. Though some would argue that's a little campy. and a little outdated now. But for the time, from my understanding, everyone loved it. I've seen it a lot in the theaters, and every single time when I saw the first one, everybody shouted and screamed with joy. This movie, Endgame, actually takes place for Phase 4, the end of the phases, the 10-year run starting with 2008's Iron Man. Also stars my favorite Avenger, Spider-Man. Spider-Man first showed up in Amazing Fantasy 15 of August 1962 by Stanley and Steve Ditko. First Spider-Man film with Tom Holland, Homecoming. His suit is based on the Steve Ditko drawings with the web underneath the arms. Next up is Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future. Though it's a Steven Spielberg Presents movie, it was actually directed by Robert Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis. This is a collection of 1, 2, and 3. All 3 films. Fun fact is that they filmed the second and the third one back to back. That's why at the end of the second movie, there's a trailer for the third. Showcases Marty McFly going back in time. With Doc Brown, who's played by Christopher Lloyd. This movie is a classic. I actually have the USA Weekly, the newspaper that did come out on October 21st, 2015. It's framed with museum glass, so then that way the newspaper doesn't get ruined. Next up, we have Baby Driver, an Edgar Wright film. You would know Edgar Wright through Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End. He was also one of the head writers for the Ant-Man movie, but due to complications, he opted out. This movie is different in a way that it uses its technique of music to go with the action that's taking place. So with every beat that happens, beat, will actually be like a gunfire, or there's a scene where windshield wipers go to the beat. And it actually stars Ansel Elgort, who suffers from tendinitis, I believe. It's the ringing in the ear. It's a great movie. Lily James, John Hamm as well, Jamie Foxx. And it stars Kevin Spacey. But let's face it, nowadays we don't. It's Kevin Spacey. Next up, I know a lot of people grew up with Adam West. I didn't know about Adam West until later, but it's Tim Burton's Batman. This 4K set has all the Batmans where he grew in love, like the first Tim Burton Batman. And of course has Jack Nicholson, who plays the Joker. You have Michael Keaton. Great actors. Next is Batman Returns, which has Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton again directed by Tim Burton. Music from both films by hold on. is actually a Val Kilmer Batman. Just Batman Forever. I enjoy this film mostly because of Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey does an amazing job as the Riddler. It's Batman Forever. Again, I'm not opening these because it's kind of loud. Now, here comes a Joel Schumacher Batman. With this Batman movie, it does star Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone, and George Clooney. Fun fact about this movie: Arnold Schwarzenegger has come on record to say that he has yet and did not show on screen with Batman or Robin. All their scenes that was supposed to be with them together were filmed separately. So Arnold Schwarzenegger never got a chance to act alongside Mr. George Clooney. There was supposed to be a 5th installment for that Batman series. We're supposed to have Harley Quinn, and it was also supposed to have the Scarecrow. But due to Batman and Robin's poor development or the actual production and box office hits, they decided to scrap it. Harley Quinn was supposed to be the Joker's daughter in the film as well. So, again, that is all 4K Batman collection. And last but not least is another Tim Burton classic, along with Michael Keaton. It's Beetlejuice. Again, music by Danny Elfman. Also stars Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin. It's one of the best Halloween movies ever. It's a classic, and there's going to be a sequel coming up too. So fun fact for this movie is that, of course, you have Winona Ryder, who during the time when Michael Keaton did Birdman, she made a bet with him that if he didn't win an Academy Award or Oscar for his performance, he would have to come back for a second one. So Beetlejuice 2. They're making Beetlejuice 2. So that kind of tells you how that he didn't win an award. So that is it for the numbers through B's. Again, there are so much more C's through Z's movies. Again, over 200. If you like this, then go ahead and hit subscribe. Let us know, and we'd be happy to do another one. Or possibly one other teammates can make another one. As this is being filmed right now, we have an Indiegogo campaign that can be for our independent movie, Dear Me. All donations matter. So no donation is a bad donation. So if you have a chance, visit the Indiegogo page and please donate. Also, hit like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on YouTube. We're also found on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. So if you love this, then let us know, because we'd be happy to make more. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys again in the future.